So good day guys. So our topic for this day is about function. So in this topic, we are going to tell whether the following table of values describe a linear, quadratic, or exponential function. So ituturo ko sa inyo kung paano i-determine yung mga table values kung anong klaseng function, kung exponential, linear, or quadratic function. So in your study of the table of values of linear and quadratic functions, you get a constant value in the first differences in y in a linear functions. So kapag ang first difference is nagkaroon tayo ng constant value, then the function is linear. While a constant in the second differences, then that is quadratic function. So let's see for our first example. So i-determine natin kung anong klaseng function ito. Linear ba siya, quadratic, or exponential based sa ating table na nakikita natin. So we have a function y equals 3x plus 2. So we assume na hindi natin alam kung anong klaseng function to. So ititingnan natin using differences. So ang first difference ng ating y, so ang ating flow, so gagawin natin is i-subtract natin yung 14 sa 11, yung 11 sa 8, and then yung 8 sa 5, yung 5 sa 2, yung 2 sa negative 1, and then yung negative 1, ima-minus natin sa negative 4, while minus, because we are going to find the differences in our y. So 14 minus 11 is equivalent to 3, and 11 minus 8 is equivalent to 3. 8 minus 5 is equivalent to 3. 5 minus 2 is equivalent to 3. 2 minus negative 1, so 2 minus negative 1, so magiging 2 plus 1, so we have positive 3. And negative 1 minus negative 4, so we have negative 1, tapos magiging positive 4, so 1, so negative 1 plus 4 is equivalent to positive 3. So notice that a constant value of 3 was obtained in the first differences in y. So the relation y equals 3x plus 2 is a linear function. Using differences, so na-determine natin or na-prove natin ng y equals 3x plus 2 is a linear function using this illustration. So yun po yung first differences in y. So try natin sa ating next example. So we have y equals negative 2x squared plus 5, and then we have x values negative 3, negative 1, positive 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. While our y values is equivalent to negative 13, positive 3, 3, negative 13, negative 45, negative 93, and negative 157. So, ang gagawin natin is yung negative 157 is i-minus natin siya sa negative 93. And of course, negative 93 is i-subtract natin siya sa negative 45. And then yung negative 45 is i-subtract naman natin siya sa negative 13. And then negative 13 minus 3, and then 3 minus 3, and then 3 minus negative 13. So, kukunin natin yung first differences in y. So, using calculator, so magkakaroon tayo ng derived answer. Negative 157 minus 93 is equivalent to negative 64. Negative 93 minus negative 45 is equivalent to negative 48. So, negative 48. So, negative 45 minus negative 13 is equivalent to negative 32. And then next, negative 13 minus 13 is equivalent to negative 16. And then 3 minus 3, of course, 0. So 3 minus negative 13 is equivalent to positive 16. So yan po yung first difference ng ating y. And then, wala po tayong nakuhang constant value. So next is we are going to find the second differences in our y. So same procedure, ang gagawin po natin is i-subtract natin yung negative 64 sa ating negative 48. And next is yung negative 48, i-minus natin siya sa negative 32. And of course, negative 32 minus negative 16, and then negative 16 minus 0 and 0 minus 16. So yan po yung next nating gagawin. So negative 64 minus negative 48 is equivalent to, so using calculator, so magkakaroon tayo ng derived answer na negative 16. So negative 48 minus negative 32 is equivalent to negative 16. And then negative 32 minus negative 16, so magkakaroon tayo ng answer na negative 16. So kung hindi nyo po alam kung paano nakuha yung negative 16, so pwede natin gamitin yung calculator or pwede rin naman natin gamitin yung rule sa ating subtraction. So negative 16 minus 0, of course, negative 16. 0 minus 16 is of course negative 16. And notice that a constant value of negative 16 was obtained in the second differences in y. So the relation y equals negative 2x squared plus 5 is a quadratic function. Kanina is linear function in a first difference, in a second difference that is quadratic function. So what about for this example? So we have y equals 2 raised to x, and we have x values equivalent to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then meron siyang corresponding y value. Yung 0, meron siyang corresponding y value ng 1. So, paano nakuha yan? So, isusubstitute po natin yan sa ating x values. Paano po nakuha yung 1? So, of course, 2 raised to 0 is equivalent to 1. And then 2 raised to 1 is equivalent to 2. And 2 raised to 2, so magkakaroon tayo ng positive 4. And then ganun din yung next. 2 raised to 3, so we have 2 times 2 times 2, so we have positive 8. And then 2 raised to 4, so magkakaroon tayo ng 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is equivalent to 16. And then 2 raised to 5, and magkakaroon tayo ng positive 32. And then once na 2 raised to 6 naman, is magkakaroon tayo ng 64. So kanina sa ating example, so y equals 3x plus 2. So once na sinubstitute natin yung negative 2 sa ating linear function, magkakaroon tayo ng negative 4. Ganon din sa negative 1, once na sinubstitute natin sa 3x plus 2, magkakaroon tayo ng derived answer na negative 1. And then hanggang sa ating 4. So once na sinubstitute natin yung 4 sa ating x values sa ating 3x plus 2, so magkakaroon tayo ng derived answer na 14. So ganun din sa ating y equals negative 2x squared plus 5. So once na sinubstitute natin yung x value nating negative 3 sa ating sa ating quadratic function, is magkakaroon tayo ng negative 13 na y value. And then ganun din sa negative 1, so magkakaroon tayo ng 3. And then yung 1 is magkakaroon tayo ng y value na 3. So once na ang x value natin is 3, so magkakaroon tayo ng y value na negative 13. And also kapag ang x natin is 9, so magkakaroon tayo ng y value na negative 157. So ganun po yung way, so ganun po nakuha yung mga y values. So sinubstitute natin yung ating mga domain para magkaroon tayo ng range values. So balik tayo sa ating example. So i-determine natin kung anong klaseng function itong nakikita nyong y equals 2 raised to x. So you have seen the behavior of the values of y in the two functions for equal difference in x. So kanina is nakita nyo yung mga behavior ng ating values, so in two functions for equal differences in x. Now it is time for you to study the behavior of values of y for equal difference in x in this third function. So ang gagawin po natin is ititingnan natin yung equal ratios in y. So nanong napapansin nyo sa ating mga y values, which are 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and 64. Tama? So nagkaroon tayo ng equal ratios and y. So this time titingnan natin yung behavior ng 64 sa 32, yung 32 sa 60, yung 16 sa 8, 8 sa 4, 4 sa 2, and 2 sa 1. So titingnan natin yung kanilang behavior. So mapapansin nyo, nagkaroon tayo ng equal ratios in y. And anong equal ratios na yon? Mapapansin nyo na ang 64 divided by 2 is equivalent to positive 2. And ang 32 divided by 16 is equivalent to positive 2. And 16 divided by 8 is equivalent to positive 2. 8 divided by 4 is equivalent to positive 2, and 4 divided by 2 is equivalent to positive 2, and 2 divided by 1 is equivalent to positive 2. So nagkaroon tayo ng equal ratios and y. When you divide the consecutive values of y, you get equal ratios. So ibig sabihin lang, ng 1 times 2 is equivalent to positive 2, 2 times 2 is equivalent to positive 4, and 4 times 2 is equivalent to 8, 8 times 2 is equivalent to 16, and 16 times 2 is equivalent to 32, and 32 times 2 is equivalent to 64. So this type of relation, where a constant ratio between two consecutive values for y for equal differences in x, is what we call an exponential function. So yan po yung illustration natin sa exponential functions if magkakaroon tayo ng equal ratios and y. So y2, so equal ratios niya is 2, since yung ating function is may base siya na 2. So we can conclude that our table is an exponential function. So ganun po yung way kung paano natin i-describe kung ang mga table of values is linear, quadratic, or exponential function. So you guys, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe to my YouTube channel.